I feel the cool breeze, it's such a lovely tease.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Posca paint party. We're so happy to see you. And today we're doing something really, really fun. We are drawing and painting flames. Woo! And there's so much you can do with flames, right?
Yeah, you know, when I first started painting surfboards, I thought flames were flames and there was one way to paint flames, but there's many ways to paint flames, and we're going to go over it today and what kind of things work on different like surfboards or just in paintings or different techniques they can use to mix it up and make it look cool.
Okay, and I want to invite you to please put in the chat where you are and what your name is. And throughout this next hour with Drew, if you have any questions, write them in the chat. We will try to get to all your questions. And of course, as always, we encourage you to raise your hand button if you want to share your art, because we want to see what you're working on. Yeah. And before we get started, I want to remind you that every week we pick a winner of this great gift box Posca paint pens. And last week's winner was Evan the artist, and he's already sent us his address. So Evan, congratulations. Evan the artist. Yeah, and you want to check out Evan the artist on Instagram. He is a 10-year-old dynamo, like totally prolific artist. What he's doing at 10, I can't even believe. I can't wait to see what he's going to do at 20.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go back into my little control room, and you take over from here.
All right, everyone. So I'm really excited to talk about flames today. This is going to be similar to last week for those of you who are here, which is going to be a lot of sketching. And I want you to fill your sketchbook up or whatever you're drawing on. I'm going to be drawing with Poscas as always, so that you can see it. And first of all, I want to go over, when I first started doing flames, it was mainly on surfboards. So production surfboards, painting flames is a very common paint job. And I discovered wow, there was all these different ways to do it. There was little hatchety flames, and then there's these big elongated hot rod flames. And depending on how you did it, you could make the board look better or worse. And so it was really interesting. I just thought flames were flames, and I learned otherwise. And I picked up a lot of techniques from a lot of different people that were painting boards and artists. And so it really helped me develop kind of my own kind of thing. And also made me realize that this was a really cool design effect that you can be made into lots of different colors, not just red, yellow flames, but utilizing that with all different kinds of colors and techniques. And it's really kind of a composition thing on surfboards, and done right in paintings and things like that, it can add some neat effects. So real quick, I just want to show you something that I have on my wall. I'm going to lean forward here and tilt back. And this is a flame wave surfboard I did a long time ago. And I've done thousands and thousands of these. And this is where I turned the white water into flames. And it was just kind of one of the little things that I did that ended up being really cool and hot. But you can see how those flames are really whimsical and flying off, like the wind's blowing it really hard. And you know, I do that really loose, and I'm going to show you how I do it, and really kind of let it create this more organic shape instead of getting it really tight. I'm going to show you the real tight flames too, typical hot rod flames, but mine kind of morphed into these very loose, like whimsical, plasma, hairs or something. So, you know, there's an example of one of the boards that I've done, and I'm going to be painting. Here, let me pull this back forward. That worked pretty well. Stuck. Tilt it a little bit more. Okay, and I'm back. So I'm going to be painting on these little mini surfboards, which came in my surfboard kit that we sold. We had sold all of those kits, and we'll probably make more at some point, but it was really cool. It came with all these little mini surfboards. I don't know if any of you got them, but this was something that you could start to paint on. So this is one of the things I'm going to start with painting. This is an example of a sticker that's flamed. And this is like kind of that real multiple flames, real intricate. And this was a big painting and then turned into a sticker. So that's like kind of another style flames. And then, you know, I got my Veracocha painting, which is all plasma and flames and like, you know, just all this like crazy stuff going on. And this is kind of a mix of like a lot of things that I've learned. And Maria, if you can, when you bring up the photo from the advertisement. Yay, there we go. So this is what you guys saw. And what's interesting about this is I made this for the little advertisement for the paint party. And you can see the flames on the side in the background. Those were created for a skimboard. And those were done with Posca pens and then photographed. And then you can see it layered here. And then that's that same sticker that I have here in my hand. And then the lettering, the flamey lettering. So, you know, all these things with flames, I want to point out before we get started. If you notice in the lettering, you see how that little pin line is there that really offsets the lettering. That's something that I started doing with the lettering that really added a lot to my flames. And maybe we'll do a quick flame lettering and let you play with that. But you can see how that really kind of pops that font off of there. And the flame is not too.
Hi, Maria. I do.
That flame is not
the
too.
first one here.
All right, we got somebody talking. We can get that muted. But you can see that the flames are not on the lettering are not too crazy, so that it's still readable. If you get it too crazy, then all of a sudden you can't read it anymore, and it kind of defeats the purpose. All right, so if we can shift to the overhead camera, let's see. We'll get started here. I need my glasses. There we go. Look at that. All right. So when I was doing surfboards, it's all about, you know, getting the curve of this. We got a little bit of delay. Let me catch up. There we go. All right, so I'm going to do with yellow. And when I was doing flames with this, I would just start with one side and just try to do one little flame, and then I'd come over and maybe do a bigger flame. And these are kind of like stretched out. And if I was doing this on a surfboard for real, I'd just worry about one side at a time. Everybody see that all right? Maybe I should do it in orange.
We can see it, but orange will be better.
Yeah, let me know if something's not looking right. There we go. So I'm going to trace it again in orange. And you can see I just did that really loose. And I know it looks effortless to me. I'm going to show you how to kind of loosen up. But first of all, I just kind of want to show you something to get the mirrored effect. So there's that kind of rough little flame job. And in order to get it to the same length on a surfboard, I'd always just take the pen and use that as a measuring device and try to hit those same spots. Like, look at where they end up, right? And that's how I would like make sure that I was getting it close. And then I'd come around, let me turn it like this. I'd drag my finger down the edge. There we go, let's get this. And you don't want to make it perfect. I mean, you can, but if you make it perfect, it's really hard to copy it. Sound effects always helps. You want it just kind of just good enough. And keep in mind, I would be doing this with a pencil, and so it would just be my map. And for those of you who've done this before, they realize the map is just like this little guideline, and that pencil line doesn't necessarily mean that I have to keep that whole line. It's just a guideline for me to, as a reference. Sometimes I keep the reference, sometimes I get rid of it if it's not something I like. But I'm doing this with Posca, so it's pretty permanent, so I kind of get it right. So you can see that's pretty close to being even. I don't like it doing it perfectly even, because when I do that, it looks more machine-like and it takes a lot of effort. It's almost better to kind of keep it free-flowing and makes it more organic. Okay, so I'm going to blend these real quick. This is just kind of a quick exercise, but I would start with the red, of course. I wish I could get this a little bit. Why don't I just do these like little tongues? Kind of forget that these boards are pretty small. But I do the red first and then I blend them in.
Heather Williamson said, today is a good day for flames because up here in Northern California, we're packed up and ready to evacuate from fires. I didn't know that was going on up there. Sorry about that, Heather.
Wow, Heather, that's crazy. Well, hopefully that maybe that fire will put itself out, or the firefighters will get it out. And
pray for rain. Jesus Cristo has a question. What is your process in regards to not adding too many flames and making it seem congested and crowded?
Yeah, it's a
Is
good.
it mostly just an eye kind of thing?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and that's what I was getting at with not getting it like with the lettering itself. But even with a flame, if I try to do too many flames in here, it would definitely get too congested and kind of like look like anything. I kind of go back to, this is like a composition design effect. It's not necessarily like the flames. This is almost just like making the surfboard look faster and like more cool looking. Now, if you put too many in there, all of a sudden it just looks like a mess. So I was real careful just to do 3. If I started putting ones off it, like off the side and getting it really complicated, you'll just lose that whole design element. So there's something to be said for simplicity. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm really just trying to get the design and make this board look better. And when we get into doing some of the more artsy stuff, it's a little bit different technique. But on the boards themselves, and like if you imagine like a helmet or like a gas tank of a motorcycle, if it gets too busy, it doesn't look good. So it's mainly a design element, if that makes sense. Instead of trying to get it like all perfect and great, it's more about just kind of making it look like it's going fast. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I do want to show you. I'm just going to do one side. This process is what I would do on a real surfboard. And maybe we can send the surfboard to somebody after I'm finished with it, and they'll have a custom surfboard by me. So whoever wins the pens is going to get this surfboard too. How's that sound, honey?
That sounds great.
And I'll do it all good. All like pro. Okay, so that's like the rough way I do it. But then, so with the black line is where I add all the like cool effects. And here we go. I usually, if this was a bigger surfboard, I'd be using this thick 7M pen, but since this is just a little one, I'll use the 5. And so this is like a reverse coloring book. I do all the thick lines first, and this is where the thickest lines are gonna be, like right underneath. And this kind of acts as like a drop shadow. All right, so I'm gonna, on every side, on this side, I'm gonna add a thick line. And this is where you really start to get, try to keep your line nice and clean. Whereas when I'm just doing the color part of it, I'm kind of just making a mess. All right, kind of looks like that. But then I'll take the thinner pens And always work from the thickest to the thinner pins. So if I was doing this on a big board or a skateboard, I'd go from 7 to 5 to 3. And I'm going to try to get this as thin as I can so it's not too thick. But all of a sudden I can get that tip out like that. And so one of the interesting things is always comes up is people say like, oh, just draw something small on my surfboard or my skateboard, and they think it's going to cost less. But it's actually harder to draw something small than to do it big. It's so much easier when you have room and space and you do something a little bit larger. Just because something's small doesn't mean it's easier. And that's definitely true here. It's really hard for me to draw these flames like I would on a surfboard and make them look cool.
So since that board is so small, for people with smaller devices, it's hard to see. So in your, I don't know if we can zoom in or maybe your next exercise you could do on the big.
Yeah, the next exercise will be on this big piece of paper.
Okay, good.
But there, I'll zoom into the camera and kind of see what I'm doing. This is really just to show you the design element of what I'm talking about. Okay? It's really like, I'm not trying to draw these like amazing flames. It's just like doing a composition and trying to make the board look like it's going faster. And that's really what flames are great for, especially when you think of surfboards or wakeboards or motorcycles, helmets, you know, cars with flames on them, something like this. Now, since people are having a hard time seeing, I'll move on. But this is kind of the idea. I would draw one side and then I would do the other. Now let's look at a couple different kinds of flames. Let's set this aside. I think orange was a good color. Now your traditional like hot rod flames are really like drawn out and whimsical. Mine are a little fat and stubbier, but like when you get the hot rod flames, they kind of like really pull out and they get thin. Oh, I got a little wobble there. But depending on how thick you want to get it, that's like more of a hot rod flame. And then I could like try to make that a little curvier. Like I don't like this one. So let's say if I'd usually pull this in tape. That's how they do it with. But you see how you have a variation of thin and thick spaces. And that's the important thing. What you don't want is something like this. You know, you'll see people try to do flames and it's kind of thick. So now you could do it this way. There's no wrong way to do it, I should say. But usually when you see these really cool looking hot rod flames, you have a variation of super thin areas and thicker areas. And I would agree that, you know, with all your lines, whether you're doing the flames or the black lines or whatever, having that variation of lines really adds to the different kinds of flames that you're doing. One of the things that I see people just kind of do these, like, you know, they just kind of like little, like they're almost like not trying real hard. Now you can look at that. That's kind of like a smaller version of that. But when I'm doing them, I try to keep it real organic. So that'd be more hot rod. Now here's the way I do them. So I immediately start, and just imagine, I should do this in orange so I can do red over it. You can see how I get really sketched out with them. You see that? And so then let's say I did, I wasn't trying to get these long, smooth lines. I just kind of sketch it out. And that's how I would do it with my pencil. And then I would come back when I'm painting it and find the line that I like. Can everybody see that?
Yep. See
And
it
it's
really
so
well.
it's so organic, and it's almost like unrepeatable, because every time you do it, it's a little bit different. But that looks more like flames to me than anything else. So then, like, let's say there's a little tongue coming off, and the same thing, I just kind of go for it. Let's do one over here. Now, let's paint this. I don't like this one right here. He's a little more organic, something like that.
So Janet wanted to know what type of paper we're using because there isn't any bleed through. And that's a great question.
Yeah, so this is poster, like poster print paper of some old prints that I had. And so it's a coated paper, so it actually works really good with the Posca pen. Most of the time on paper, it doesn't work because it's not coated. So if you have non-coated paper that you want to paint on, usually put a fixative on it, and that'll seal it up. So that was a good question.
And also Haley said that adding a variation of thick and thin would mimic something moving fast rather than plain thick flames would be more like a still campfire.
Yeah.
And I want to take a second to I'm going to spotlight Haley just for a second. Hi, Haley.
What's up, Haley?
I wanted to introduce Haley to everybody. She is the newest team member to Brophy Art Academy, and she's also an amazing artist. Haley, will you put a link to your Instagram page in the chat for us, please?
I will. I'll be here every week, guys. I'm so excited.
Thank
Yeah.
you. We're happy to have you here. Thanks.
Yeah, we need all the help we can get. This is working here in San Clemente. It's hot, so I'm glad that we're doing flames. So
we should be doing ice cubes. That's what we need.
yeah. So here again, I want to kind of show you this technique of coloring the flames. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do like one little section so that you can see. Now, you can do it either way. So we're working, of course, with basic firing colors. Here we go. Which cameraman? I always add white into that. So white is always the center hottest part. Sometimes I'll even add purple or black. And I'm going to go over that real quick. So let's paint some of these flames real quick just so you can see some different ways that you can color it to make it look pro. Let's just do a traditional one. And I'm going to do this line right here. Always start with the red first. And so I'm going to go right over this red just to activate it and dress it up a little bit. And I'm not going to do the whole thing because it's drying really fast since it's hot out. And I'm going to go half in, half out. Everybody knows from working with the Poscas that's how you get it to blend. If you're having problems blending, then just sit there and do like a little color chart blending, and that really helps. You can see that I do that same like little hatchety mark when I'm blending. Can everybody see that okay? And I'm half in, half out, and I'll go out. And then maybe I'll clean it off over here, make sure it's all good yellow. And then I'll come in just in that little bit right there, I'll put white. And it just really, that's a differentiation, color scale that's so different. And it goes all the way from, red to almost white. Now let's do this last little tongue, reactivate this red. And then same thing, half in, half out. And I'm going to try to do this fast so that I can move on to the cooler part. And this is really about, practicing. And then I'm going to give you some tips on how to make your flame just a little bit cooler than the average Joe. So that flame looks pretty cool, right? So you can imagine what this whole thing would look like. So you remember when I was talking about the lettering where I did that outer line? So what if we did this outer line in yellow and we traced it right along there? Instead of black, it's yellow. Hopefully everyone can see that. Try not to get my hand in the way. Whoa, that looks so cool. Now this could have been orange too. Orange would have worked. The yellow is really poppy.
So I wonder, as I'm watching you do this, you're just kind of, you're freehanding it and you're just kind of going for it and you're not going for perfection and you're not afraid if it's not perfect. Yes. And I wonder if anybody out there is struggling with that need for perfection.
I'm sure they are. I'm here to tell you that, when you're stiff and you're trying to get a line like really hard, like to get it perfect, you usually mess up. If you loosen up and have confidence in your stroke, you'll usually get a better organic line. All right, so this is dry already. So I'm actually gonna use this 3. And watch this. So this, now that the line is set, I can just follow it. So it's not as hard to get it perfect. And to try to do it better, if those of you can remember me telling you, like, I'm not doing this with my fingers. You draw with your fingers, you draw with your wrist, you draw with your elbow. Like if you're getting a line like that and you're trying to get it, you want to draw like that. You're locking your wrist and your fingers and you're drawing like that. So when I'm doing these lines like this, I actually have everything locked and I'm doing micro movements, but what I'm actually doing is leaning back. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm actually just leaning back as I'm going. And then when I get in these little tight spaces, I unlock my wrist and my fingers and finish that curve. That was something I didn't realize that I did, but be conscious that there's ways to get nice clean lines by moving your body differently. There again, it's your fingers, it's your wrist, it's your elbow, it's your shoulder, and then locking it all and just leaning back. So, those are things that really helped me. I was doing it naturally, but it wasn't until my friend Phil Roberts pointed it out that it really hit home with me. And when I learned how to control my arm and my body and my fingers, my art started getting a lot better. So hopefully that's a good tip for you all. So can you guys see how cool this flame is looking?
That looks killer. I want to share a quote that Haley wrote in the chat by Atticus. The quote is, "When it comes to art, it's important not to hide the madness."
True. That is a good quote.
So we have one hand raised, and I think we should hop over to Galaxy J7. I don't know what your real name is, but we're going to come to you in just a sec. So before we spotlight you, though, I just want to say, anybody else that wants to share, either raise your hand or write it in the chat. And then when we spotlight you, please be ready with your art to show it so that, so we can see it. Okay, so we're gonna hop over and spotlight your video. There you are. Hey, let's see what you're
Hey, man, what's up?
What's happening?
Doing good, man. Nice to see you again.
Howdy from New River Gorge, West Virginia.
Right on.
Yep. Yeah, see, I got my CJ5 in the background, 75. I hope I'll get to put some flames on it. But I could talk about flames all day. I love the blending. I love the one you're doing, the last style. That is so awesome. Here's the one, like I've pulled more with airbrush. So I laid out a gas tank and a mailbox that I did. I don't know if you can see them.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that's the airbrush flames are amazing.
There's a tank I did years ago. And there's a mailbox. I don't know if it's showing up or not.
Yeah, we can see it, man. It looks amazing.
That was just playing around with the airbrush. And shout out to Mike LaValle, rest in peace. I'm sure you know who he is.
Yeah.
So here's what I did. My first Posca.
Flame job. It looks killer. You know, it's good because you got all those colors mixed in there, and it kind of shows you where you can take it, and also that it makes me think of how you can do like kind of that hairy pen line around it.
Yeah, I just was playing around and trying to learn to blend. It's my first time I'm messing with the Posca pens, and I love them, and I've been playing around with them, and thank you, and it's all awesome. I did the top one where my thumb's at. I just learned a lot about blending the collars and stuff. But anyway, so I'll let you get back to your teaching there, and I appreciate everything, and I'm learning, sitting out here.
Right on, man. Thank you. You know, it's really cool to see the airbrush because, you know, I first learned how to do flames with an airbrush, and anybody who's used an airbrush, it is so fun. And, you know, being able to do all the fades and things that you need to do is really magical. It took some time for me to kind of get that same effect with the Posca pens and turn it more into a graphic. So like if we can look back at the overhead, and I'm going to show you how to kind of pull these. So you see how they have these little tips, and like the sharper you can get that tip, the better it's going to be. And so I even took it one step further, and my loose little squigglies, I put at the tips, and I just go, and I get something like that. So I'm going to do that on this one too. And they get like these super like little long, let me get that up close so the camera can see it. But you can see how, you know, that added little thing was like kind of another little add-on. But the sharper you can get it, the better. It goes back to thick and thin lines. So these lines can be thin, and then this one can get a little bit thicker up here. And that variation of line gives it like more dimension to it. Okay.
Okay, and then is this a good time to share a couple more?
Let me just show one more thing on here and then we'll do it. So,
okay,
you know,
and then Sue has a question, and it has to do with what you're doing right now.
Sure.
Her question is curious about the outline in black. Is that to add the extra pop? I think they look great even without the black outline.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Sue. The black line is to make it pop, is that absolutely right, to make it pop off the background. So you're right, it looks good just with the color as well. So depending on what you want, this could be a black line, or it could have been like a maroon line. It could have been any kind of line. So there's no rules as far as that goes. But you'll find as you do things, just certain things look good and certain things don't look as good. So what I found is these are things that I found that work like almost every time. Sometimes I experiment and get lucky, but then other times I experiment and I'm like, oh, that didn't work as well as what I already know that I just did with this one little flame. If I duplicate that all throughout here, it would look good. I know it will every time. Now, even if you took these same effects and you did that painting to this one, it would still look good. It wouldn't look bad, but it wouldn't look as good as this one maybe. And same thing with this one. This one would probably be pretty cool as this one. So this is kind of more traditional. This is what you see when somebody's kind of just trying it out for the first time. This is kind of what you see when somebody just is barely trying. So it just kind of shows you how dynamic you can make it. And it's the thick and thin and then the looseness, I find that it works the best. Some of the best hot rod pinstripe guys, they do these super long, elongated, like ghosting flames, and they're just amazing. So you can take this really far, but I'm just trying to get you to help you realize what makes it look good and what makes it look kind of generic. And this would be generic.
Sue had a follow-up question. Do you use that as much with your sacred geometry work?
As far as the thick and the thin lines, the sacred geometry works a little different because I'm kind of looking for like translucentness. So I'm trying to create those geometric shapes, and I'm trying to, I guess it's kind of similar because one area will be like showcased and then other areas will be really subtle. So that's kind of the same as these thick and thin lines, I guess. Like, so variation, like if you do everything to stand out, it becomes very too graphic. And then if you get it kind of thick and thin, then all of a sudden it loosens it up and gives it just a little bit more dynamic. So yeah, so you're gonna go to somebody?
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna go to Steven in LA, who we got to meet got to see in person very
Oh yeah, what's up, Steven?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, nice to see you.
All right, good to see you guys. So I'm still working on the waves from last week. I just want to show you finally got a good start.
Oh,
Almost done. And then
that is so cool. How is that? That is rad. Can I see that one again?
Oh, this last one?
Yeah, the wave is so cool.
I'm just trying to play with the different angles of the wave, and rather than drawing from the same angle every time, and it helped a lot. So thank you.
Yeah. And so what do you think of this whole flame thing? Have you painted flames before? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I painted flames. They all look like the generic one you were talking about, so they're getting better now.
Yeah, but that's why I've been doing it, because a lot of people they don't know to stretch it out.
Right,
So,
I didn't know.
And so yeah, have fun playing with that. And it was nice hanging out that day.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for showing me around.
Right on.
All right, so we're gonna go to another Steve Ert. Steve, if you are ready, we are gonna spotlight you. There you are. Hi.
Hey. How's
Hey,
it
what's
going?
up, Steve?
Good, good. Just want to show you a few things I've been working on.
Sure, let's see it.
So this is a.
Oh, cool. God, that is. So how did the Posca work on that? Pretty good?
Yeah, it worked pretty good. Sometimes like the paint would kind of peel off when I'd go over the dry parts, but
Yeah.
for the blending, I used a lot more of the dots.
Yeah, that looks good. So what did you lose one? Decide to paint the other one?
Oh no, actually I found this one when I was out body surfing.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
God, that's a great canvas.
Yeah, I got a few more too.
Yeah.
that I
Oh,
found.
yeah.
And
So
then
where are you joining us from?
I am.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Hawaii. And then this is an old bodyboard that I have.
Oh, look at that. Holy smokes, man. Man, that is good. I like how it really sucks you in. It pulls you in there.
Oh, yeah, dude, for sure. And then this one I was working on yesterday.
Oh, cool. Oh, I like how it's like melting.
Yeah.
So you're like well advanced with this. So you're how long you been painting with the Posca pens?
Just about 6 months.
Wow, you come a long way.
But my background's in graphic design, so.
Oh, good. So this is loosening you up a little bit, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Right on. Well, thanks for sharing, Steve.
No, thank you.
Right on.
We're gonna go say hi to Dubs now. Dubs,
What?
show
I
us
can see
what you
Dubs.
got.
All we can see is you, bro. What's up?
All right, you there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, check it out.
Oh, you got the black flames going.
Yeah, Poscas and Sharpies.
Dubs, that looks sick.
Yeah, flames on the hut, flames
So,
on the eyeballs, flames on everything.
So Dubs, this is really cool. Like, cause yours, you see how you got the holes in the flames? I've done that before. And
Yeah.
that just makes it look like it's like really thick, like plasma or something.
Yeah.
And you've done such a good job hitting those like dark spots, to give that shadow effect.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah,
on,
so
man.
fun. Yeah, I'm stoked, man.
Right on.
Dubs,
Yeah.
always good to see you.
Yeah, all right. Heck yeah, you guys.
All right, so we've seen this one. So Dubs brings up a good thing there. Let me see if I can get this out of the way. Let me get my orange pen.
And we have a few more people that want to share, but we'll get to you all in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, look, I'm just going to show you something real quick. Let me get this thicker. Why don't we do it in red? But if you can imagine, you know, like when I do a skull or something, like, so I get this skull going, and this was usually like a hot rod looking skull dude that you know, just imagine I'm making this up, you know, painting this on a surfboard. I don't know what kind of skull this is. It's just some crazy looking thing. So, but then I'd have the flames coming off of it, and I would always do it really loose. So if I like try to get this like it'd be hard. So I just go, and you can see if I was doing this in pencil, how it would really get a lot more attitude to it, I guess I'm trying to say. But I used to draw these like on the sides of surfboards and motorcycle tanks, and it was like so fun. But like when Dubs just had his flame, so like if you imagine if you had a flame, and then he would have like this spot that was like kind of like this plasma spot. And then you see, I would take it like this, and you could actually have two of these. Almost like, you know how the cars have those like air vents or something, and it kind of comes off like that. Now it sounds kind of like strange, but like if you did that and then you came back with this black and you imagine it being all colored like the surfboard one, and then you come back and you add these thick lines to those spots, and this is what Dubs did, which was really neat. And then all of a sudden you can give the flames almost like a, you know, you can put things in the flames, right? So you imagine you're doing this, and now you gotta imagine it all colored in the way I do them, and it gets like really cool quick, and it's got this like heavy black line. Now let's take it a step further, and kind of like how I turned the white water of that wave I was showing you earlier into flames. Let's say it's a skull made of flames. So I'm going to have it, you know, kind of looking at that line of action that that we're learning how to do. Like, let's say it's something like this, and it's like this thing's coming that way. So that's the line of action, right? Maybe even flying it that way. So I decide that I'm going to put a skull here, and it's going to be a flaming skull, right? And I know his eyes are here, and then I'm going to put some teeth here. Now I know I've done this a bunch of times, and you're like, whoa, we'll slow down, hold on. But, you know, this is all about having fun at first. And so this is my sketch that I'd be sketching on something just to get my attitude right. Right. And then, so I look at it and I'm like, okay, I want to turn this whole thing into a flame job. Now I might take it and I like just start doing flames like off the edges of it. Maybe I put a little flame there, a little flame there. And then like I decide like, oh, wow, this whole thing is almost like it's spitting it out of something. So I'm going to go fat to thin. And same thing. But, you know, I'm just making this up as I go, but it's with that whole same idea, the composition and the line of action, the subject matter, which was a skull, and then I just added flames to it. Now you could do the same thing with like a golf ball. You could do the same thing with a hand. You could do the same thing with a flaming eyeball. But any of these things, but it's the same thing. And like when that flow line or that line of action is this thing, which is the composition. And then you got the character, and then you're just flaming it up. Now, if you follow those same steps, which I showed you on this one, where you're doing this consistently on every one of these little flames, and you just take your time and knock that out, you're going to come up with a much more dynamic piece. So like in, you know, everything in here. So think of things that you could flame up. Like you imagine like you're painting a horse and you decide to make it a flaming horse, or, you know, you're drawing some like hot chick and you make her flaming hair. You imagine, you know, the wave, and then it's a flaming wave. So there's all kinds of things that we can add flames to that just make it like so cool. I used to draw these goldfish. And so like, let's say I have a goldfish. Oh no, I got my funny faces I make with them. Right, he's got a, okay, so there's my basic goldfish, right? But we're gonna make it a flaming goldfish. And now he's got big flaming tail and arms or fins, and then a big flaming. Oh, I just messed up his mouth. Now it's a chick fish. It's got lipstick on. All right, here we go. And we have scales. But you get the idea, right? That just by adding that effect, all of a sudden you can do all kind of cool things.
Hey, I want to just point out a lot of people are sharing their Instagram handle in the chat, and I want to encourage everybody to follow each other and encourage each other. It's so much fun to see. I love following all of you on Instagram so I can see what you're creating after these paint parties.
And we learn from each other.
Follow each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also
So
Galaxy. I just want to read one thing that Galaxy J7 said, and I'm sorry, I don't know your real name. Maybe you could put that in the chat. He said, shout out to Drew and Maria. You all rock. This is so awesome. And if you ever want to have an awesome tour of the New River Gorge, shout out. I have a raft and a guide. We would love to do that. And I think you said you're in West Virginia.
Yeah.
The funny thing about West Virginia, it's the only state that Drew Brophy has not been to. He's been to 49 states. So we might have to go to West Virginia. So you've been to all 50.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see what some other people are working on, and I'll just sit here and play with my flaming fish and skull.
Okay.
And please ask me questions, and if you're having problems with something, and we'll go from there.
Oh, Michael LaRocco is Galaxy J7. Okay, Michael, I know who you are. Just, I don't know why I didn't know your name. Okay, I didn't put two and two together. Okay, so we're going to go to Evan the artist, and then after Evan, we're going to go to Lotus. And if anybody else wants to share, just either raise your hand or write it in the chat. But we're going to go to Evan in just a second. Let's see. You need to unmute yourself, and then I'm going to spotlight you. Here we go. Hi, Evan. How are you?
What's up, Evan?
Hi.
I like your tie.
Thank you. Thanks.
Very fancy. You didn't have to dress up for us.
Okay. So I have 3 drawings, and this is the first one. I didn't have a surfboard, so I just drew on paper.
Oh, that's good.
Whoa. This way. And then this one.
Oh, yeah.
And
So
then,
you're doing good. Just getting them loose, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like a few years ago, I drew this one with Prismacolor pencils because I didn't have Posca.
Oh, yeah. So you drawn the flaming skull. God, good job with that. You got your shading on your skulls. Amazing, too.
Thank you.
Have you, so Evan, you paint a lot of shoes. Have you painted flames on any shoes?
Yes, actually. I do it on these Naruto sneakers that I was doing.
Yeah?
Yes.
I've done some flames on some shoes, and it's really cool because you can take that same concept and accent the shape and make it look like their feet are on fire.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Evan.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go over to Lotus Heart Song. Lotus, are you ready? Hi.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
What are y'all working on?
So this is Davi. He wanted to share his flames. He's working with pastels tonight.
Right on. Let's see them. Oh, yeah, look at that. So I like how you got like all that color. It almost looks like a boiling pot of lava or something. Yeah.
I'm working with watercolor.
Oh, wow, look at you. Yeah, so watercolor did a great job.
We need to get our Posca pens.
Yeah, the Posca pens just makes it faster.
Yeah.
And, but let me see your watercolors again. That was really nice how you can really pull the thin lines. You see that, everybody? Those thin lines really make it look rad. Yeah. Yeah, well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, for sure.
Gosh, this is great seeing everybody's stuff.
Okay, here's a question from Heidi. Do you find a big difference in using a clear gloss spray that has a UV resistant in it as opposed to not having the UV in it?
The UV stuffs are fairly new, and I haven't seen long-term effects of the UV. I mean, the sprays itself, they work the same. They both go on easy, but I haven't been able to assess whether or not the UV is that much a better of a protectant. You know, just from over the years painting, if whatever you're going to be doing is in the sun, it is going to get damaged. In the sun is just so harsh. I mean, it's hard to protect it. So, you know, long-term direct sunlight's going to be bad for anything, even if you use a UV clear. It can't hurt though to have it, and it seems to perform the same way as far as the application goes. So we'll have to wait and see and let some time go by and see. Somebody needs to do a test, lay something in the sun with the UV versus the non-UV, and see if the colors hold up better, really.
Okay, Melissa Warden has a question about the Posca paint pens to your left and the sizes. Can you just show the difference between all the sizes that you have right in front of you?
Sure.
3M, 5M, 7M.
Yeah, so this is a 7M, and this is my workhorse pen. This is the pen that I use to cover a lot of color and do all my blending with. So this is kind of my signature pen. The 5M is kind of more of a detail pen for me. Unless I'm working on something small like a shoe or a hat, I pretty much don't use the 7M. I mainly use the 5s and the 3. And then there's a 3, which the tips are totally different. Let's get the tips out. And let's see if you can, oh, there we go. I'll hold it up. And you can see the difference in the tips. So the 3 gives you a much thinner line. And here's the 7. The 7's a bullet tip. Now in the same size pen, there's an 8K, which has a chisel tip, which is really good for lettering. But I like the 7 for blending, and just use the 8K as getting nice sharp lines. And then there's a 17, which is a much bigger pen that is good for like doing graffiti lettering and filling a lot of area. There is a video of me showcasing all the pens. I think it's on YouTube, or I don't know. We'll have to post that for you.
Yeah, it's on your Drew Brophy YouTube channel.
Okay.
And I also want to remind everybody that you can order your Posca paint pens off of brophyartacademy.com, and we would love it if you ordered them from us. Okay, we're going to share, we'll go to Andrew, and then we're going to go to Lance. So we'll go to Andrew Johnson first. And Andrew, we are spotlighting you. I hope you're ready for us.
Hey, Andrew.
How's
it going? Good, man. Let's see it. Oh, yeah. Look at that sun. That is cool. It's like the spiraling sun.
That is really cool.
Look
It
at
reminds me of like one of those rotating disc things. I forget what they're called, but
I like your waves too. I like how the front waves like going right into the back wave.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good. It looks like you're having fun doing it.
I am. Enjoy it. Love it.
Yeah. And what do you think of the flames that we're doing? You're going to be ready to flame up something next?
Yeah. I was trying to use some of those teachings to put it into the sun right here. Maybe throw in some of the dark line black in there.
Yeah. Well, you hold it up again. I really like how you know on that one edge where you got the orange, it's giving it a 3-dimensional look.
Yeah.
So you're pulling it off. You're definitely getting that effect, and it looks great. And I'd say just you could stretch those things out more, like make them thick and get them thinner. But it looks amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it just really looks like it's kind of spinning back there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the idea, to have the spinning sun and the keep the same or the opposite or the same motion with the waves as well.
Yeah. And you can use that spinning or those rays to, direct your eye. So going back to the composition factor, that spiraling sun, it just looks cool, So it
Right.
adds something to the piece that just if you just shot the rays out, it wouldn't have that same effect. All of a sudden, it looks like it's spinning. So good job.
Can you hold
Thank
it
you
back
very
up for one more second? Dan O'Connell wrote that your son looks like the Kroll weapon. I don't know what
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's what
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
too. I didn't know what it was called, but yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I got
thanks a lot. Thank you. And we're gonna go to Lance now. Lance, I hope you're ready.
Hey Lance,
Hi.
Hey there. Thank you.
you guys
for,
painting over there?
We are. Here are my flames so far.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's kind of learning to blend these still. So
Yeah, you're
it's
doing a
coming
good
together.
job. So
Thank
what you need to do is to hold it back up. So you see how your black line's pretty uniform. You want thick and thin ones. So where it dips down behind the flames, make it thick, and then do it thin going out to the ends, and it'll really give it some bulk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give that a shot.
Yeah, good job. That looks good. I can't wait to see it done.
I'll show a couple more if you don't mind.
Yeah,
I've got a few,
let's see them.
Yeah.
So I got a Bob Marley here.
Yeah, that's good.
And then my daughter's showing off another one here.
Oh,
We
good job.
We have we've been enjoying your Zoom meetings. We got the 7mm ones from you guys, which were awesome.
Right on. And where are you guys joining us from?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Right on. Well, welcome. I'm so glad. I'm really enjoying meeting everybody. I'm enjoying seeing everybody paint, and especially painting with your friends or with your kids. I know we're on an electronic, but we're really doing something tangible and real that will last a lifetime, And I just think it's cool that we can hang out with this many people all together and share art, and then share Instagram accounts, and then follow other people, and we'll all learn from each other. So really great.
Here's one last question.
Sure.
Well, first of all, before I get to the question, Nancy in Montana said, "Thank you, Drew and Maria. I'm using the Poscas we ordered for the first time last month. Thanks for starting the parties again. You are truly lifesavers in a difficult time." Thank you, Nancy, for saying that. We're happy you're here.
Oh, that's nice.
And then here's the last question of the day, because we only have a couple minutes left. And the question is from Danielle. Does Drew have any suggestions for being loose when drawing? I keep finding myself having sharp and jagged when the line should be curved.
Yeah, just confidence is one, and then loosen up your hand. Take your hand, your arm, go like this, and allow it to just have a flow. You don't want to hold your hand really sharp. I kind of hold my pen. You've ever seen artists kind of hold it really loose and just kind of, and just kind of get these more organic movements. If you're stuck like that, then you end up making unnecessary marks that are the wrong marks, and you want to erase them. So another thing that helps you loose is draw lightly. So, I see this with kids, and, young kids just go for it, and they're not scared. They're filled with confidence. And then all of a sudden around 12 or so, they're afraid of getting it wrong. And so they start drawing smaller and more direct. So they want to make a square. They want to make it perfect. And they draw real heavy. And I'm like, no, draw light so that it's just a map. So I keep saying that it's a map. So all of this, when I just go loose, I'm usually doing that with pencil. It's just a rough map to lay out. And then with the pen, I'll follow that and find the lines that I like that look the best. So hopefully that helps.
And I have a suggestion too. And that is, if you get yourself in the habit of like every morning when you wake up, you say, okay, for 10 minutes, I'm just going to sketch and it's just for me. And it's whatever I wake up thinking about. And then the practice of doing it every day is you get used to just letting yourself go without concern of someone else looking at it or judging it. And you're going to get used to not judging yourself because it doesn't matter because you're just playing around for 10 minutes every day.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Thank you.
It
works for writing too. If you're writing, like that's what I do with writing.
Yeah, I want to show one last thing. If we can go to this direct camera, if we can.
Haley, can you spotlight the iPad?
The iPad, let's see if it works.
Let's see if Haley might not know how to spotlight yet.
There it is.
She
Good
did
job.
it. All right.
You can see I'm using black, red, orange to yellow to make this like really dark and sinister. It just shows you a different, another level. And so when I continue doing this, this whole thing will just be like that much more angry and crazy looking. There was a lot more I could have showed you today, but I hope that you get the idea of flaming up all your ideas and your stuff and having fun with flames and get that diversity of line. And yeah, so we can go back to the other camera. There we go.
There we go.
Thanks,
Let's
Haley.
get the hang of it. So I wanted to ask you all to do us a favor, and that is let people know about these paint parties. If you know anyone that would benefit from it, that would enjoy it, parents that want something for their kids to do since, there's not so much art in school anymore, please send them to brophyartacademy.com/events and they can just sign up and they'll get the Zoom link. We really want to get more people on here, and that enables us to keep this going. So with that being said, we'll see you all next week. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Just to remind you, somebody is going to be chosen as a winner and we will post it.
And they're going to win all this stuff too.
My gosh.
We're going to send them all the flame stuff.
All right, we're hooking you guys up. Whoever wins this week is getting the hookup. Yeah. All right, and with that, we're going to say goodbye. We love you. Thank you. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.